All right, there's about 5 seconds from the last video to now. The plan. The plan. All right, so the plan is I am going to go to CDL school. Unfortunately, I have not found a good way to have somebody else pay for that. That looks like $5,000 that I'm just going to have to eat, and that's I'm still looking for options to have somebody pay me for that. Uh, I'll go ahead and mention it now. The trucking company that I'm thinking about going with is USA Truck, and they do a reimbursement, but it's terrible. It's absolutely atrocious. They do it. The CDL school reimbursement, from what I've seen, is they pay $100 a month reimbursement. So CDL school costs over $5,000. You have to work there for over 4 years. What is that? So it's $1,200 a year. 4 years would be $4,800. So somewhere between 4 and 5 years to be fully reimbursed, and they reimburse up to a maximum of $5,000, I believe. I don't plan on working there for 5 years, which means that if I work there for 1 year, then they'll reimburse me $1,200 of $5,000. I mean, it's better than nothing, but when I got into the industry last time, Swift covered the school. I never paid the school a penny. And since I didn't stay with Swift throughout my entire contract period, which was either 1 or 2 years, I can't remember what it was, then whenever I left Swift, I made payments to them of like $200 a month until I paid off the school. But if I'd have stayed there throughout the entire 1 or 2 years, making $250 a week, then I wouldn't have had to pay that $200 a month. So I haven't found any amazing deals like that to get back into the trucking industry this time. So it looks like I'm just going to have to pay $5,000 to go to CDL school, and they want $2,500 down as a down payment just to schedule the class. So I have to pay them $2,500 for them to sign me up for the class, and then they're going to bill me monthly for the rest. So it's going to be pricey to get back into this. I'm regretting surrendering my CDL. I just surrendered it like 2 or 3 years ago. They just kept adding on more and more requirements to maintain the CDL. At first, I dropped my hazmat because they added on all kinds of requirements for fingerprints and everything else. And then I think they eventually went to annual testing. And I was just like, I'm not going to maintain my hazmat anymore. And then they made I think you only had to do a medical whenever you renewed your license, and they changed that to be an annual medical. I know some companies required you to have an annual medical, but I don't think it was an actual license requirement until recently. Whenever they came up with that requirement, they sent me a letter, and I just had my license downgraded. I should have had it just bumped down to an interstate license, but I was getting tired of having to go to a DPS. They call them DPS here, a DMV, to get anything done with my license, because whenever you have a commercial driver's license, you can't go to like a tag agency. Oklahoma works really weird, and that's where I live right now, is Oklahoma. And their whole Department of Motor Vehicle stuff, they call it a Department of Public Safety here, is really, really weird. And most people they do everything through private tag agencies on their licensing, like renewals and everything, and they only go to the DPS. I don't know what they go for, but everyone with a commercial license has to go to DPS, and it's a really long wait. When I say a really long wait, you can't just go down there and wait in line to be seen. I'm looking at the camera. I'm trying to look at the camera. You can't just go down there and wait in line to be seen. You have to do an online thing that's called Inline Online, where you pay something like, I don't know, $3 or $4 for the privilege of getting a reservation. And the last reservation I made was booked 3 weeks in advance. That was the first opening that they had. And I had to go to a DPS that was not the closest one to me so that I could get an appointment that soon. So I didn't want to have to deal with that. I wanted to be able to just go to tag agencies, so I just dropped it down to just a normal driver's license. I regret that. But I never thought I'd go back into trucking. But anyway, it wasn't that bad of a decision because like I hadn't driven a truck in over a decade. I kind of needed to go through school again because part of the school is teaching you the hours of service rules and all kinds of stuff. And I don't like this. Everything's changed so much since last time I was driving. I need to go through school, but that's going to be expensive. I'm going to have to spend $5,000 to go to CDL school, and then I'm going to go and most likely work at USA Truck, and then I plan on being a company driver there. Well, it's a 28-day training period, so it's like 3 days of orientation and 28-day training, and it is team, but it's not team. It's not team driving. You're with a trainer, but supposedly, according to USA Truck and everything that I've read and seen and heard, the trainer actually sits in the passenger seat while you're driving. So I would be doing all of the driving on the truck. It's not like a team situation like almost all the truck companies do, which is what I did with Swift the last time I got my license, back, a long time ago. Which I don't really consider that to be training at all. It's just, we were just team driving. That was it. The trainer taught me absolutely nothing. My trainer, I knew more than my trainer after like my second day there. My trainer was horrible. I had extreme road rage issues. That'd be a whole, I'm going to digress. Stop me. Okay. What was I talking about? Okay. So 28 days of training, which is supposedly basically me driving with somebody in the passenger seat. And then I get my own truck. There's, of course, a test out, which I could probably pass right now. I'm hoping that they give me an out on the 28-day training because they say that it's about 28 days. There seems to be like it's not hard set. It's whenever they feel comfortable. And since I have 4 years of previous experience, I really just kind of need to learn, basically get back in the swing of things. It's kind of like riding a bike. It's going to take me, a couple of days to get back used to it, but mainly it's just learning their system of their PeopleNet and all of, how they do all their TransFlow or whatever they use and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that I'm not going to have a full 28 days of training, but if I do have a full 28 days of training, it's not a big deal. And then test out, and then I get my own truck, and then it's approximately 6 months. They told me it's 6 months before you can do a lease purchase with them. So after 6 months with them, I plan to become an owner-op with, their lease purchase program. 9 minutes. This might be a 15-minute video. And so after about 6 months, do lease purchase. I plan on going with a really cheap truck, like 30 grand. And that's not set in stone, but that's what I am thinking right now is what I want to do. And I would like to have that paid off within a year. I looked at the place that they do their lease from. It's called Bulldog something, whatever, out of Atlanta, Georgia. And almost all of their trucks are $30,000. And they do 2 to 3 year leases, I think. None of their leases are listed at 1 year. Like, why in the world $30,000 over 2 to 3 years on a lease purchase doesn't make sense to me. I would prefer that it just be a 1 year lease That way I'm not tied to USA Truck. Like, if Bulldog will not do a 1-year lease with me, I mean, maybe on the 2 to 3 year lease, I would have to read the contract, but they would probably let me pay it off early. So if they won't work with me on a 1-year lease, then I would just do the 2-year lease if the contract allows for early payoff without extra charges or anything. And the total price of the truck, like they have it listed on the website, is like $30,000 for the truck cash price. If it's like $70,000 paying out on a lease, then, you know, I'm trying not to get vulgar. I'll look at other options. There was a really nice truck that I saw for sale outside of St. Louis. I found it on Craigslist. Wow, that thing was really nice. $27,000. Had an APU. APUs, from my research, are like $10,000. Wow, it was like a, I forget, like a 2013 Freightliner in great condition, and I think it was like a fully loaded model. Had an APU, the Thermal King or whatever APU. I mean, it had an APU for like $27,000. That thing's not going to be around whenever I'm ready to buy a truck, but knowing that that kind of stuff exists and is probably going to be more common whenever I'm looking to buy a truck in a year from now, close to a year from now, 10 months, 8 months, hopefully. APUs have become more and more common over time, and that would be really nice to get one with an APU for 30 grand. Like, that would be amazing. But that's kind of the plan. So next video, I think I'll discuss why I'm thinking USA Truck, and it's not a hard set. It's just something I'm thinking of. So why USA Truck on the next one?